Um, I want to address one last thing before we start wrapping things up. Um, Regarding this, what do you think? Uh, Gaming will be like in the future? Not so much in terms of the video games themselves. That could lead to a fucking nihilistic discussion in and of itself. Um, no, I'm more talking about this whole thing with the relationship between games media and content creators. What do you think is going to happen in the future if, for example, let's say, hey, this whole idea of uniting them fails or that shit?
If it fails, I was gonna say it would probably improve. I mean, if people are taking the time to go out of their way and bridge gaps and or build bridges and unite people, then I mean, I would assume it's going to work to some degree. If it fails, though, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's like on a downward spiral necessarily. I do think that there is kind of a slow shift away from like the larger established media groups. Like if you look at IGN with like 2 million Twitter followers, they get like 30 likes on their tweets. Like a lot of people have left and they're tuning out and they're going to other sources that they trust, sources that they feel agree with them and cultivate an atmosphere that they enjoy in the community. So I don't picture the relationship getting worse, but I do picture kind of an exodus of viewership towards independent media outlets like your own, and creators, but away from like the centralized, you know, controlled flow of information. Um, like
Right.
even E3, I think that that's going to consistently uh, turn into something that's more community accessible, and I hope a lot of it's digital as well. Like originally, it was super hard to get into, right? It was super hard to get into, and you got all this exclusive access, and then you still do, right? You still get exclusive access and different opportunities, but they opened it
I
up
can
to the
tell you that.
public. Yeah, they
Yeah.
opened it to the public, right? Like then there was a regular gamer pass that anybody could buy. You didn't have to qualify anymore and whatever. And yeah, it was overcrowded and it's a work in progress, but it's opening up. There's less and less emphasis on like this is the controlled flow of information. We talk to the publication talks to you. That's not that's going to degrade increasingly over the coming years.
I'm going to quote the message that I told him because I was kind of offended by the video he made because essentially he was saying the information isn't exclusive anymore, and essentially like I took it as him saying games media isn't needed anymore. It felt like a fucking stab in the back. No,
No,
I know that.
it's not that they're not needed because there's still stories to cover. There's still incredible like opportunities to discuss things, raise awareness. There can be different like campaigns that you can open. There's stories, there's what investigative journalism, there's all sorts of stuff. It's just there was kind of an established order to things. The publishers would go to the big media outlets and then the big media outlets would filter it and give it to the people. That's always disappearing now because publishers, for instance, a publisher can stream on Twitch and get hundreds of thousands of viewers, right? Like they couldn't do that
Right.
before. 20 years ago, they literally couldn't do it, but now
Yes.
they can. So it's like there's information bridges being created where certain larger media publications that relied on exclusivity, they don't have as much of a grip on the flow of that content anymore, which they did have before. So it's not so much that like media is going to be useless or become obsolete. It's just that they're going to have to change a little bit of how they function from the top down. I'm not saying even like the independent outlets, because a lot of independent outlets are not getting the type of access that Kotaku gets. But when that access is no longer enough to keep them all afloat with their 100 employees or whatever, then they'll have to change their coverage, which might lead to more rage bait. Who knows?
And that's the part I took as an insult and blah 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 blah. And I told him, and I quote, "What bothers me about your media is that yes, the media is being limited in terms of their exclusives or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But don't forget that people were pretty much being forbidden from co-streaming certain E3 press conferences. And when I later said, like I later exemplified this by Nintendo's ban on co-streaming that even had Twitch themselves scared, like and how Nintendo essentially waited until the very last minute. Even it didn't caught us by surprise over here at Bagocast Games. that they announced a ban on cost streaming. Same deal with E3 as a whole.
Yeah.
So I was mentioning that yeah, I told him that the exclusives are still not going away. They're just shifting to other things like certain curated content creators, which is what I also said could be bad for the industry as well, because instead of filtering the information through a gaming media outlet, they're essentially filtering it through a content creator that essentially acts as the same thing, a filter. So
Yeah, that's why
that,
I'm a
that
fan of like direct. Like if a company does their PR release, sorry, I just choked on water and I muted myself. If a company goes direct to the people, direct to the gamers, like yeah, it's cool if I get exclusive content or like a review copy or something. But it's much better when companies can talk directly with the people that actually play their games.
right. But yeah, is there any more questions before we wrap this up from you guys?
I got nothing.
Um, just to wrap this up, do you have any favorite like comments or responses to your videos?
Um, hmm. I guess my favorite ones are when people like expand on the topic, which happens quite a lot actually. So I'll do a video on like let's say I don't know, like some situation that happened at Ubisoft or yeah, like one particular situation, and then someone will leave a comment below that's like, well, also this is true and this is true and this is true, and I found this, and it's like stuff I didn't know, and it like basically expands my knowledge on the subject, and if I incorporated it, it would have been great in the video too. But stuff that expands what exists already, I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Um, on yeah, I was about to mention the talk about the winnable thing. Like, have you found any other outlets that are essentially like that?
No, that was pretty unique, I think.
I can tell you that there's a lot of fucking websites that try to rip us off and essentially plagiarize our articles,
Yeah.
which is yeah, dude. Like, I think we get them at the daily for every article we write, don't we, Alex?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me. I actually found when I wrote an early access review about that one game, Horror Story Hollow Suite. I'm not sure what the exact name is. I found out in the comments section there was like 4 places that used the exact same article but changed the wordings on it.
Oh yeah, I have noticed that. So okay, this is one of the things that leads to like the perception that gaming media generally is like gonna be useless or going out of style or losing its pull, is because sometimes an article gets published and then it's everywhere, but it's the same thing. So like every outlet picks it up and then parrots what the other one said, and then even if the first one gets something wrong, the next one parrots the incorrect fact, and then the next one parrots the incorrect thing from them, and by the end of it it's like a game of telephone, and it's like, what are you even saying? Like, it's just so wrong. So original content, I don't think that that's going to go out of style, no. But this kind of like replication of content where it just goes viral and everybody prints the same thing, yeah, that might become a little more obsolete.
Right. So basically, cheapskates like me, and we'll have to fucking try to do something original for a while.
Well, no, I mean if you're breaking a story, then I think there's always going to be a call for that. Like if you can actually break a story or like be on the cutting edge of a story, maybe not even like the first one to, but if you collaborate on it, if you're on the cutting edge, if you're one of the first ones to really talk about it, if you bring new information to the table, I think there'll always be a demand for that. It's just when like I don't know who's the most guilty. I think it was like PC Games North America or something. I don't know. There's like one particular outlet. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head. But they basically always copy paste. Like always. Like almost every single article. It's not plagiarized, right? Because it's not the same words. But it's like the exact same flow, the exact same points, the exact same topic. And it's always in like 17 other places. Now, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what one. It wasn't like PC Games N or whatever, like North America. It wasn't them necessarily. But it's like individual outlets will replicate the content in such a noticeable way. It's like, well, I just read this and I just saw this 2 other times from 2 other outlets. So you kind of tune out. You're like, well, if I'm seeing the same thing from everyone, then what's the point in following a bunch of them? What's the point in even surfing? Once I've read the story, I know the story for the day.
Yeah, it kind of hurts because I would spend maybe weeks playing a game and gathering, information and stuff that I would write about, and then I would spend like maybe 2 days at most writing my article and working hard on it, and then someone would just copy paste it and change some words around and call it their own thing, and it's kind of insulting in a way.
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand. Especially if you work hard on it and then someone else is like, "Hey, look at this thing I made," and you're like, "But that's mine, and I worked hard on that." I totally get that. And the same, I'm not saying that this is unique to media either. It happens in content creation as well. Like I even one time so Big Fry did a video on Earth 2, and I literally said in the video, I was like, "Look, Big Fry did this video, and I'm gonna copy it, and it's a really good video. Go watch it." But I'm also going to talk about it myself because I think it's worth talking about. But at the same time, like the replication happens.
We you know what I'm really like. We should talk about this shit in detail and
Wait, what? Like the Earth 2 stuff, or just like the general topic?
no, like the general topic of copying and how like it's a common enemy between content creators and games media.
Oh yeah, I mean, as long as there's like,
don't really-
attribution, yeah. But it is, yeah. Sometimes people will straight up rip off content. I don't see it happen too much when you get larger because it's kind of a death sentence for content creators. If you get caught like stealing content, that's it. Your credibility's shot.
But it does happen.
No, yeah, it does.
has happened, yeah.
It does.
Even with the larger creators.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the largest instance I've ever heard of.
Babadoon, I can tell you that I can tell you one. Babadoon, who it's a Latin American content creation site that essentially faked the speedrun of Super Mario Brothers.
Oh.
And essentially the speedrun was complete dog shit, and it was done in that, like the gameplay was from a test video to assist the speedrun.
And and they got obviously caught, and then it wrecked their rep.
It didn't.
It didn't?
They still have the video up. They still have the video and shit.
Was-
Carl Jobs exposed the video. He did that, but the
Was
company the company.
Was that a speedrunner who was like eating pizza and drinking Coke while he was speedrunning?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I remember that.
Babadoon
Oh my God.
still has the video up, and it's a company. And it's a company that works like that.
Weird.
And, dude, yeah, exactly. They sometimes just YouTubers just get away with it, and same deal with the people that rip other independent creators. So again, this will be a really fucking good video topic to discuss in length. Now that I think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to find instances, examples and stuff, because there are examples. Like the problem is when it happens on YouTube, it's a lot harder to find, right? Because you can just chop up the video. When it happens from major media companies, people find it. They have a bigger audience. It's easier. It's just text usually. So they find it. They're like, oh, even if they don't find plagiarism, they say, okay, this article came out and then that exact topic came out over here. So they see it.
Philip Musin is the biggest example about how, plagiarism.
Oh, the reviews. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the guy who essentially plagiarized everything he made.
Yeah, he.
Especially his reviews.
Yep. Well, he just got hired as, I don't know, something. I remember somebody saying like, "Why'd you hire this guy?"
Yeah, they apparently the people blame the fact that he was a YouTube content creator, but like I said, this is a very common enemy between gaming journalism and between games media and the public and the content creators in general, because people rip each other off no matter what the medium is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, that would be a really fucking good video to discuss it. Like, personally, especially because I have a laundry list of websites that fucking rip us off. And,
Really?
And yeah, and the problem is that they do this fucking shit where they copy the entire article, they paste it, and then they put a fucking link at the bottom that says source link.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
They'll just repost the article and say courtesy of, or like sourced from, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how we find out because we get a ping back on it. So
Oh,
Yeah.
that explains that.
It fucking sucks. Not gonna lie.
That's brutal. And then
Yeah,
they didn't
it
even
does.
like add their own stuff, right? They didn't change it. They didn't put their own research in. They straight up used yours, which means every click that got was should have been yours. Like every single one should have been yours.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
nobody's going to go to the bottom to read the same story again on a different website. It's never going to happen. That's fucked. Yeah, I don't like that. I've definitely seen that before. I kind of always was puzzled by that, actually. I was like, wait, are they partners? Right? I was wondering, like, oh, does it have the same owner? Like, is it like two
No.
websites that are owned by the same higher publication? So they're like, oh, put it on both. I never understood like the process by which that happens. I get if they're really just stealing it, then that's so scummy.
Yeah, it's actually literally stolen content that we. Sometimes we don't even know who the fuck it's from, but it happens.
Yeah.
I am looking through some of our comments, and they are, and they really fucking love the stealing our content. Like not gonna lie, dude. I have, for example, this fucking website called Mr. Doctor Game
Hmm.
that recently just changed their name to Insurance. I'm literally at the fucking website, and it ripped off my article about a fucking My Little Pony fan work interview. Like that's as blatant as you can get when it
Yeah,
comes
right?
to fucking to how about the rip off. Because okay, I did a it's a fan work about a thing I'm passionate about. Okay, that it justifies my reason for covering it. But why the fuck will somebody else who clearly wouldn't be interested in a My Little Pony fan work just fucking post an article about a fucking interview?
I always wonder if
Like,
it's
that's
automated,
so
maybe.
weird.
Right? Like it's an automated scraping system. So like,
I have the feeling it is. I have the feeling it is.
Yeah, because it was probably like just seeing My Little Pony in the search terms. It just
It's
happened to be
okay.
your article.
And they plug in whatever that day, and they're like, scrape an article about this or scrape a few articles about this, right? And then it picks. Because I can't imagine someone like manually going in and copy pasting that and doing that. I mean, maybe they do, but it's hard to picture.
Right. And yeah, like I said, it's pretty common to see, and you know, sometimes it's and like I said, it's a very common enemy between gaming journalists and people who and content creators, because again, it's just it's just something that happens no matter where you look. Get it?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think that should very much wrap things up for all of us. I think that's
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
okay. Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's just wrap things up with all of us. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. This probably will be divided in three parts because we talked about a lot of subjects very broadly. We'll have to see it in post, but yeah, I'd like to say thank you very much. It was a great honor to have you in this stage, and I hope that you are on the last of the big YouTubers that talk with us about and open a dialogue or open relationship between YouTubers and content creators, and YouTubers and content creators fucking to YouTube creators and games media, because we definitely need this kind of relationship, in my opinion, because if we want to keep discovering the truth, we need to work together. It's not going to be a matter. It's not going to be a matter of how should I say it? It will essentially break down later onto like helping one have the reach of the other, or having some privileged facts that a game journalist might have, and then tell a content creator that will actually spread them, like we did with the 1x bad beats, because because you obviously have a higher reach. So in that case, I essentially told you that information, and then we literally just spread it, and that's the objective: is spreading the information and helping the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I think that we should have an open dialogue between content creators and games media, because we need it. Because as much as both spaces try to deny it, they do work off and need each other to survive. Otherwise,
yeah, there's a lot of collaboration. And yeah, it was a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. It was a good talk, and yeah, some interesting topics.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great to meet you guys as well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Likewise.
Likewise, and yeah. So yeah, guys. Whatever your thoughts on this podcast and on my stuttering, leave your comments down below and tell us all your thoughts about it. Make sure to check Bagocast.com and make sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter because we are in there for some reason.
You guys sound more boastful. You guys sound more boastful.
And make sure to subscribe and hit that bell.
Yeah. Hey, thanks guys for joining. Thanks guys for joining this podcast right here. If you like this video,
We're
make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
We're sponsored by Manscaped and Ritual.
And fucking Red Shadow Legends.
Okay.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next time in the next.
Catch you guys next time.
See ya.